Good morning, Valley View Middle School. It is a short week. It's MEA week, so you only have 2 days of classes this week, and you're going to get a well-deserved 5-day break. One thing I want to encourage is that for this 5-day break, you find a way to give back to yourself. Find a way to give yourself fresh air, be outside, move your bodies, read something off of a page, and try to give yourself some separation from screens for a bit. If any of you just rolled your eyes about that, like, oh, there's no way I'm going to read over this break, remember that part of open-mindedness is being willing to consider something that you might not usually think about, or being able to consider something that your first reaction was to roll your eyes about. So even if you don't consider yourself a reader, remember that we're all readers, and you have access to the Media Center and to Oxborough Library to get a book about something that interests you that you can read over your 5-day break. The other piece is that there's only a few weeks left of first quarter, which means that if you're behind on assignments, it's really important that you take advantage of this 5-day weekend and get caught up on some things. Make sure you're asking questions Monday and Tuesday to your teacher so you know what you need to be working on if that applies to you. Speaking of open-mindedness, today we want to acknowledge Indigenous Peoples Day. The word indigenous means originally from, or original to. So I was born and raised in Minnesota, but my ancestors are not indigenous to Minnesota. My ancestors are indigenous to Northern Europe. The people who are indigenous to Minnesota are the Dakota and Ojibwe peoples. And Indigenous Peoples Day is an opportunity for us to remember not only the resilience of those peoples throughout history, and being resilient through oppressive systems, but also to remember the fact that those people are still very much here and are active contributors and shapers of this broader community that we call Minnesota, and are also active contributors and shapers of our Valley View community. So we want to acknowledge this day. The last thing we want to talk through, even though we're talking a lot about open-mindedness here in October, it doesn't mean that our focus on safety goes out the window. A couple safety behaviors we're seeing uptick is a lot of students just not keeping their hands to themselves, particularly in hallways, lunch, if you go outside at lunch. And remember, we understand, most of us have siblings and friends, and we understand that roughhousing or horseplay is not an uncommon way to mess around with your friends. But that doesn't mean that it's appropriate here at school. It's important for us to set professional boundaries here at school and to practice that professionalism and to practice restraint. One of the reasons that we care about this as a staff is because even if your friend was fine with that roughhousing yesterday, you never know what kind of day they're having, and a lot of times the playful touching can be misinterpreted and can turn into something else. Not to mention, it's just disruptive, and it doesn't make our hallways and common spaces very safe when people are not in control of their own bodies. So our expectation is that anywhere in the school, unless it happens to be something that's acceptable in a PE activity, anywhere in the school, you're expected to keep your hands, feet, and bodies to yourself, as well as keeping your objects to yourself. And if you're not meeting that expectation, you should expect that a staff member, whether you know them or not, is going to ask you to stop. Our expectation of you is that you stop. If you continue to do the behavior when we ask you to stop, then we're going to have some more consequences. Remember, this is part of how we grow and how we prepare the skills that we need to function in professional settings. So let's work on showing restraint this week and thinking twice before the actions that we take. Let's make it a great short week. Please reach out to whatever adults you need support from to make the most of these 2 days. Thanks.